So the Mavic 4 Pro isn't available here in the US, yet here it is. At least I'm sure hoping it is. So the question is, how did I get it? Is it worth the risk? I'm Joey Powell with Peak Media Productions, and let's talk about it. So if you're watching this video, you probably already know the DJI Mavic 4 Pro wasn't released in the US. I personally was super devastated. I woke up at 6 a.m. that morning and I was ready to buy it. Went on the DJI website, was ready to put it in my cart, and nothing was there. And I went to the Australian website and there it was. So I was like, oh, dang, it must be in the US. And sure enough, DJI came out, and for whatever reason, it wasn't released in the US, didn't align with their strategy. And they specifically said that if you buy it from outside the US and import it into the US, the warranty wouldn't be valid. I'm not necessarily encouraging anyone to do this, but I just wanted to test it myself and share my experience. So super basic, I was just Googling Mavic 4 Pro US when it's released, things like that. And an eBay listing popped up and I was like, oh, I never thought to buy it on eBay. Checked out eBay. Crazy enough, it was a really highly rated seller, and so I was like, I'm gonna pull the trigger. I'd actually already bought it on B&H and was just waiting for it to come in stock. I don't know if it's ever going to come in stock at B&H. So I went ahead, bought it on eBay from a seller in South Korea. I paid, how much did I pay? I paid $2,883.96 for the Fly More combo, which from my understanding, the US pricing, that is significantly cheaper than the pricings listed on B&H and Adorama. So let's get into it. I'm going to open this puppy up. I'm really hoping it's actually in here. Moment of truth. Oh man. It looks like it. It looks like it's real. It's legit. Some more bubble wrap and tape. So I decided to go with the Fly More combo, which I feel like all the reviews, everything online, it's all been that crazy remote control, which, you know, it would be really nice to have. But for me and what I'm doing, I feel like the cameras and the drone are what really matters, so that's kind of been what I've been focusing on. And just the remote does seem amazing, and I would get it if I could, but for $1,000 extra dollars or $2,000 extra dollars, whatever it is for the creator combo, just doesn't feel quite worth it. Oh, look at that. Yeah, this looks pretty legit. I'm not feeling too anxious about it now. The Peter Lundgren. Look at that. It's open for sure now. But yeah, Fly More combo for $2,800. I think if you buy it in the States, it's like 3,000 something, maybe even like 3,500. So, man, that looks sweet. Okay, let's open this bad boy up. Comes with this nice bag. Still haven't seen the drone, so hoping it's in here. Bunch of props. That's a lot of props. Not totally sure how many, but a lot. The RC, I think it's N2 controller. Honestly, all I feel like I really need is this. I mean, it'd be great to have a larger screen and all the other features that the other controller has, but that works just fine for me. It's a little bit of a pain to unscrew and screw on the props, but I'm an FPV pilot, so this is very minimal work to use that controller. We've got the charging hub with the 2 extra batteries. They feel friggin' hefty with 52 minutes of flight time. Kind of would expect nothing less. I want to get to the drone, but just want to make sure. It only comes with this one charging thing, which could low-key be an issue since it doesn't have any US things, charging hubs, but I have different cords that I know that I can use for this. But that is interesting that it doesn't come with an adapter or anything like that. And then here is USB-C to USB-C, nothing new there. Make sure everything's out of here besides the drone. Got some stickers in there up top. Oh, this thing feels massive to me, but I'm also just used to the Mini 3 Pro was my last cinema drone, and then a bunch of FPV 5 inches. So this thing feels, woo. Sheesh. Look at that. That looks crazy. Assuming that's, am I missing something here? Oh, yeah. Look at that. That goes out there. That is honking. Man, feels so good in hand. Looks so good. Those props feel massive. I've got big hands, so that's, and that gimbal does it. So that is interesting. I was curious watching other videos, but it does stop right there. You can't, it doesn't just, it's not truly infinite spinning. But all those sensors, man, I am excited to try this out. The 3 cameras right there. Hasselblad. It looks so good. Well, I'll go fly it now and we'll show you some of that sweet footage. So the big question, was it worth it? Honestly, for me, yes. And now maybe even more so than before. I recently watched a video from Joseph Blake Photography where he goes through and explains that DJI seems to be restocking their products, and things are feeling a little bit uncertain for them. If you want to find out more, check out his latest video. I'll put it in the description below. And even for me, I recently ordered an Avata 2 with a flyaway coverage after I lost mine in the mountains in Idaho. And it's been held up with customs for the last 3 or 4 days. And I've heard people even waiting months before their products finally are shipping. So yeah, maybe the timing for me, even for me when I bought this Mavic 4 Pro, I was lucky. Although I did hear they're specifically targeting DJI. So since this didn't look like it was shipping through or from DJI, potentially that's, less risky. But am I glad I took the risk? Heck yes. This is easily the best camera on a drone I have ever owned. And the ability to switch between the 3 lenses, all while shooting in D-Log, is a game changer for how I shoot and color grade. So yeah, I'm not gonna give you a bunch of specs. You can go watch another video or a review video if you want that. I'm just gonna give you a quick feel for whether this actually felt worth the risk for me. Functionally, it's been super smooth. I updated it to the most recent firmware just a couple days ago with no problem at all. And there hasn't been really anything that's needed tweaking because I ordered it from overseas, as far as I can tell. With that being said, could something go wrong? Definitely. And without an official US warranty, that would definitely suck for me. There are a few quirks that I did notice while using it that were definitely things that I feel like I would have maybe taken into consideration while debating whether or not to take the risk in, shipping it through eBay. First off, the tracking modes. So just the active tracking. When you're active tracking, sometimes it's a bit overly sensitive. There were some birds on the water and they were kind of going up and down, and I had the active track on them, and the drone camera was also kind of bouncing up and down with the waves. People as well, just super touchy, which maybe I haven't had a chance to test it out with the new firmware, so maybe that's been fixed. And then this goes without necessarily saying, but it was kind of a surprise to me in the sense of how noticeable the drop in image quality is when you switch from the main lens to the telephoto ones. It's definitely not unusable by any means. It's still a phenomenal image, but it was just more than I guess I was expecting as far as drop in quality there. Just something to be aware of. And then a lot of people have talked about this, but when you're shooting in vertical mode, I do a decent amount of vertical content for clients and things like that, and it can only tilt down about 10 degrees. When you are in vertical mode and you're trying to track something, and it needs to tilt down at all, it'll just freeze up completely and you just can't move the drone at all, which is kind of a little bit sketchy sometimes if you need to jump in there and take control if something's coming or whatever it may be. And you can totally shoot in 6K and just crop in and it'll still be 4K on that main sensor. But if you're shooting on one of those telephoto lenses and not being able to tilt down at all, it is a little bit of a pain. Obstacle avoidance, I didn't super test it, but I guess maybe that's the quirk with it, maybe it's so good that it scares me to get close to things, and it gets way close to things and hasn't stopped. But with that being said, I haven't super pushed it because this is my own personal drone. I took the risk of importing it and buying it. I'm not trying to crash test it for YouTube views. But with all that being said, for me, 100% it is worth it. I don't know how long this window will stay open. Importing these things could get harder fast, or heck, maybe all of a sudden it'll open up and they'll be selling in the US. But if you are a filmmaker or serious hobbyist and you've been on the fence, this drone definitely delivers, and in my opinion is totally worth the risk of not having a warranty, and also just the risk of having it being held up at customs. So yeah, that's my take. I took the risk and for me it paid off, but I'm curious what you think. Would you risk importing the Mavic 4 Pro into the States from eBay? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I read them, I reply, and I'd love to hear whether you think it's worth the gamble or if it's better to wait to see if it ever becomes available in the US. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching.